So I think I speak for every anime fan when I say that the weekends lately have basically felt like Christmas, Hanukkah, Easter, Visit from the Tooth Fairy, like all combined and rolled into one. We were lucky enough to have Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, and even My Dress Up Darling, if you're so inclined, all on the weekend. What an amazing time it has been. And it is a bit of a shame that it's now over, with Demon Slayer finishing its latest arc, but it does mean that we can look back and review this season of Demon Slayer. So one of my biggest problems with this season would just be the fact that it did not get started off on a high. The pacing of the first couple of episodes just didn't work out incredibly well. There was this big over-reliance on comedy, and that's even reflected in the animation, which changed styles to do this goofier visual aesthetic every now and again. It was really high energy, but I don't think Demon Slayer thrives on comedy. I think it's there and it's tasteful. It's a way to sprinkle it in, like Inosuke and Zenitsu are very funny. But it didn't really work in the first couple of episodes because it's all we really had. It took a while for the true plot to get driven in, so we were kind of just wading through the motions, watching this awkward, funny stuff that wasn't really that entertaining. I would also say that Lord Tengen did not come across particularly well when we first came along. Now, obviously, following Rengoku was always going to be a tough sell for him because that character has just skyrocketed in popularity, and rightly so. But we really needed a good, strong first impression for him, and what we got was him kidnapping children. Which, you know, unless you're in certain circles, that's not the kind of thing that's going to get you really rooting for a person. Thankfully, that did change, and we'll talk more about Tengen later, a little foreshadowing for you. But, yeah, it didn't get off to the best start. I'd also say we could have done with a little bit more fleshing out of Tengen and his wives, because they were all very entertaining, and I'll talk more about them later. But, there was just a little bit of depth lacking, just because I feel like their past wasn't properly explored. It was very surface level. And moving on to positives, obviously I would be remiss and probably deserving of getting my own head lopped off if I didn't bring up the animation, which has just been setting the internet on fire lately, and rightly so. Notable just nailed it. Just absolutely have taken the cake in regards to producing one of the most beautiful anime seasons I have ever seen. It's not even hyperbole to say this is one of the best looking seasons of anime ever. For one, the visual motifs, they've always been a really nice part of Demon Slayer, you know, with the water-breathing technique offering a really nice, dramatic, sharp change to the visuals. Zenitsu's thunderclap lightning looked great. Even Inosuke with his, you know, sawing technique is just animated in a way that makes it just as visually exciting. Then, of course, when it comes to Tengen's powers as well, he looked really, really cool. I loved watching him swing his weapons around, and that's not a euphemism for anything, so, you know, keep your mind out of the gutter. You know, it was so fluid and visual, and I honestly, in this show in general, I just found myself taking a couple of steps back, just rewinding a little bit so I can just, like, process that again. But it wasn't too quick as well. It was paced in a way where you got these really quick, sharp glimpses of beautiful imagery, and it lingered just enough to feel exciting and really get your blood pumping, but moved quickly past it enough that it kept wanting you to see more. You kept getting hungry for more of it. Honestly, animation, 10 out of 10. And of course, you know, what is Demon Slayer without some demons? And Daki and Gyurato. By the way, I know I'm probably saying stuff wrong. Please don't at me. Your boy's not very smart, okay? You know, they were just awesome. It was like a buy one, get one free of amazing villains. I love the contrast. I love the juxtaposition, the dichotomy. You've got the one beautiful and slightly more, you know, follower, sheep, submissive, and on the other side you've got the super ugly, but also dangerous and erratic. You know, They complemented each other really, really nicely. Their powers went together really well, and it was a genius way to have a conflict that could involve, you know, the three leading young Demon Slayers and a Hashira, you know. Perfect dichotomy. And of course, this is Demon Slayer. You can't have a season of Demon Slayer without feeling bad for the demons right at the end once you've just cheered for them getting defeated. And the backstory on these two was just gorgeous. Gorgeous and beautiful. You're given hints at the fact that Gyuruto is a victim of his circumstances, but at the same time, you don't feel that he's fully justified in his actions. It's that perfect blend. I won't say it was as emotional as maybe Rui or other demons, but it was really nice. It was a great way to, once again, in typical fashion, humanize these villains. And gotta give mad props to the comparison between Nezuko and Tanjiro and these two demons. Of course, the whole show is about Nezuko and Tanjiro's journey. It's about Tanjiro trying to keep his sister out of a life which will be forever haunted and dangerous. So, seeing that there, having a true realization of what their lives could have been, was just a beautiful way to explore that. While we're on the subject of Nezuko, little Nezuko, I'll just move past her quickly because at first this was going to be a negative. I was like, this whole show is about Tanjiro and Nezuko. Where in the fresh hell is she? She's still in her box, living her best life. Like, bring her out. And then they brought her out and she, like, she had a good time. She was smiling, but she was not doing good things. And I think it's still a quality over quantity thing, you know? She wasn't in this season very much, but the stuff that she did do pushed her character forward by leaps and bounds and continued that conflict, and I feel like seeded it even further. That the real battle of this show is Tanjiro protecting his sister and making sure she does not eat anyone, because otherwise the entire basis of the series is gone. So yeah, great exploration of that. It's a shame we couldn't see more of Nezuko, but what we did see was so good. And moving on further from that, I want to talk about the entertainment district, the red light district itself, because I am a sucker for good environments. You know, I care about Naruto because I love Hidden Leaf Village. I still cling on to love for Sword Art Online because I love Aincrad. I love Maiden Abyss because the Abyss is itself kind of a character. And I really got a great vibe from this season because of the environment. It felt warm, it felt lively and full of character, and that's not just because of the characters you meet, because there weren't really that many that stood out. It was just more the general aesthetic and the general feeling of homeliness that you got from this place. And of course, that just made the action more cathartic, because all I was thinking was how heartbreaking it was to see this place getting torn apart. Now, of course, in this video earlier, I alluded to the fact that we're going to talk about Lord Tengen, the Sound Hashira, and his little wifeys, his little waifus, and so yeah, we'll talk about that now. I really like Tengen. I think, yes, he's flashy, and that was really, really nice. I think he really suited this series. It's a more action-heavy, and while his character was good, I wouldn't say it was particularly deep. I very much just got this sense of he is a fighter, he's flamboyant, and what really made him stand out for me was his relationship with his wives, because, yeah, I racked on them earlier, but that wasn't because I don't like them, it's because I wish I had gotten more of them, because they were great, and I loved seeing him and them together. The wives themselves were so good, because you've got like this wide spectrum. You've got the one who is ditzy and silly, you've got the overly serious one, and then you've kind of got the middling one. It's kind of like we've got the id, the ego, and the super ego, and that they were a complete delight. Played off each other perfectly, had a lot of variety, and some of those emotional moments between them and Tengen were just so cute and sweet. It was a nice emotional hook to the whole series. I think it's a real shame that we didn't get to see them infiltrating the red light district at first. I would have loved to have seen them going about their missions, maybe running a little bit adjacent to the first couple of episodes, which were a bit weak anyway. Listen to that voice crack. Oof, that was tasty. You know, it's a real shame we didn't get more of that, but overall they were not as well executed as they could have been, but great characters, and so you know, it's better to be left wanting more than to be receiving too much of someone we're not interested in. And yes, so it should come as no surprise that I just loved this season. It slapped harder than Inosuke slapping Tanjiro. When I think about where it will stand in kind of the whole season of Demon Slayer altogether once the show is finished, I think it will be a really good action-heavy set piece with enough emotional sprinkling in there, but mostly a nice little break and focus on just something adrenaline-filled and chaotic and super exciting. Anyway, yes, congrats, thank you, that is the video. I thank you so much for watching and putting up with seeing a grown-ass man, a grown-ass boy, maybe, ranting about an animated show and having more erratic energy than a toddler on lemonade. But I appreciate you being here, I hope you stick around, I hope you watch other stuff, and yeah, thank you for coming, thank you for watching, please subscribe, peace out, guys.